This is called the cut before the cut. Okay. From the outside, Hair Connection looked like the downtown sex dungeon Parvati once told me about, its blinking arrow sign pointing like a boner at an upper story. Barely past 9 a.m., I pushed against the door and climbed the stairs, rising into the nasal bomb of sodium hydroxide, shampoo, and Old Spice. Alone, always alone, I paused at the entry of Wire, watching a figure sashay down an invisible runway. Like Fred Astaire in that knockoff Dirt Devil commercial, he dance-swept the edges of his parlor. All mirrors, the salon come roller disco sprouted canisters of gold and pink liquid, rum in Shirley Temples, spotlit as if awaiting Olivia Newton-John in roller skates. Metal combs glinted at the armrests of rotating thrones, dousing me with images of Henry VIII, chicken grease, and Anne Boleyn's head. It was too much to take in. Yet I was fascinated as I spied on this wannabe movie star who wore fitted black leather pants, snakeskin cowboy boots, and flowing lavender blouse studded with sapphire buttons that would make Donald Trump's signature jewelry look paltry in comparison. How appropriate that this man would be my first barber in 12 years. Out of a rake's progress and into the movie Xanadu. And because the barber's nose ring and lip stud glimmered under track lighting, I ached for the Sex Pistols even though the whole scene greased me for the Bee Gees. As if reading my thoughts, he looked up from his broom and found my eyes, suddenly becoming the Maharishi of hair. "Oh my God, hi there," he sang as his startled lip stud ignited. "Did we have an appointment?" I explained that I was a drop-in. "And why not? It's only like 2 hours before I officially open." He pretended to be disgruntled, but then pursed his lips in concern. "Just look at you. Of course you're a drop-in." He swished the broom against the wall. Some morning to drop by, and why not go out into that crazy typhoon and enter Dante's Inferno? It's like the Arctic Circle out there in April. He stared at me as if I belonged in a padded room, and for a moment I thought he might rush into a back closet and procure a straitjacket and wig. But shaking his head, he added, "Wet as the Loch Ness Monster," as if this piece of wisdom could eliminate the microbes living in my eyelashes. Troubled by my dripping jacket and umbrella as much as I was troubled by everything in and not in my life, he wiggled his wrists and spun his lavender cuffs. There was no time to think. In seconds, he spirited away my sopping outerwear, leaving me to wonder as he arranged my things over a spare chair what gave this man so much verve. I gawked at his Boy George haircut, long in front, buzzed in back, flecks of purple and blue along the tips. "We will take care of you," he chimed, pausing to appraise my poor attempt to be what he already was. "But the question, my dear, is how?" "I'm looking for something completely different," I said, peering down at tiles where water droplets shone like glass tears. Unaware of my shame, he glided across the floor, allowing his sleeve to drop to his shoulder as he reached up to grab shears from a high shelf, thus revealing a tattoo of the meandering Sanskrit symbol for Om, a sign that had always reminded me of my mother, the way she swayed beneath the shawl as she chanted. Nothing could have unplugged me more than that symbol, because more than anything, I wanted to see and hear my mother, Nora Lovins, as in ignore a loved one, to smell her face cream and velaments and sandalwood oil, to understand why so much had been flushed down the cotton river of her meditation shawl. It had been years since we'd really talked, and even longer since we'd sat in the cafe across the street from her apartment to drink Moroccan mint and share a vegan crumble. My throat thickened to gravy as the stylist's lavender sleeve flapped back to his elbow and the ohm disappeared. So, what kind of do we want on this dreary Sunday when about 3/4 of the world is home dunking donuts in bed? He threw me a no-nonsense look that sparked his nose ring and rearranged his dyed bangs. His eyes seeped blue over smudged eye pencil, lending him a burning intensity that highlighted the mob boss threat of his dimpled chin. Because you clearly are feeling desperate for something. Desperate? I asked, peering through a mirror at my mouse face, the thinnest, palest face in the Pacific Northwest. He had seen through me after all. I don't know, I just want something that will work, because hair like love had never worked for me. During the 1980s, at 14, I'd lost faith in salons, all due to a single cut, a debacle instigated by a fellow mantra nut-cum hairstylist who wondered what I'd look like sheared. She'd buzzed my temples, leaving only a tail, and signed off with a freak show smile. Poor baby, what misery, my barber cackled when I told him this story. Well, you chose the perfect place to come clean. My wife says I'm very gentle with her hair. I shot him a glance, the surprise at the word wife, wilting the ruffles of his shirt, where his fey accent and attire no longer fit into that comfortable niche of rainbow flags. But poor little you. So many lost years, he mock cried. With pity he gazed at the paucity of my features, and I knew he saw the flubbed glam, the cluster of pimples on my left cheek, the chemical-doused scalp, the pinched lips and time-branded lines around my mouth. Not 30, and already I'd blown into the cesspool of middle age. Just look at this, he wagged a patch of flaxen cobweb, the texture brittle as fiberglass. All split ends, he winced, repulsed. This is so unacceptable. He shivered and threw down his shears. Alarmed and hurt, I stared at him. I desperately needed help, but his face pinched around his piercings, where I saw resentment, fury, and disgust. In minutes, two strangers had become embittered as an old couple, one calling the other fat. Curling his lip, he tapped his boot against the floor. How could you let such great hair go, he moaned. I mean, really. He nearly sobbed as he grabbed a flag-like smock to snap around my neck. Like a reprimand, he yanked me into position. Go, sit, 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 right there. He pointed towards a throne, its silver spine electrified beneath spotlight, achieving nirvana where I never would. Okay.